right, hey, thanks for coming out today. My name is Berkley Frei. I head up the games and VR department with our company, Morph3D. And really excited to share with you what we're all about, what we've got. It's good to be back in Amsterdam. This is where we first announced ourselves. Last year, we were here with our first prototype of a product, a morphable character pack, and since then we've come a long ways, and so I'm excited to share some of those updates. And yeah, so I'm gonna get going. Today I'm gonna cover a few things. I'll give you guys a little bit of background about who we are, where we come from. I want to go over the system itself, why we built it, who we think it's useful for. I'm going to do some quick, brief demos of what it can do, how you get started with it, and then we're going to talk about some of the major improvements we've made over the last year, and where we're going for the future. Okay, so Morph3D comes from a company named Daz3D. It's one of the leading 3D content marketplaces. Daz serves millions of professional and recreational 3D customers, and one of the cool things about Daz is its content library and its marketplace is generated from artists all around the world, and it's a really robust and great marketplace, and these artists can make a lot of money selling content on the Daz marketplace. I mention that because a lot of the success that we've had with Daz3D and what we've done there, which is Daz is a modular character system as well for illustrators and designers and hobbyist artists. We're bringing that over into the games and VR worlds. So Morph3D is essentially the runtime engine version of what Daz3D has to offer. Okay, so when we looked at our product and what we wanted to create, and we looked at bringing our world into new spaces, we realized just how difficult, we have an intimate knowledge of just how difficult it is to create content and to create it well, running a marketplace that we do. And essentially creating content the old way, it's difficult, right? You have to create a character, for instance, for a game, you have to model your character, you have to rig it, you have to texture it, and then build animations for it. And essentially, each one of those tasks can be its own profession. And so that challenge of creating characters is something we wanted to take on and something that we felt we could help indie game developers with. And so, as we looked at the old options for indie game developers, there's a few paths that you could take before Morph3D. You could hire an artist. You could buy 3D models from stores like the Unity Asset Store or TurboSquid, or you can create content from scratch. But each one of those has its disadvantages. It's time-consuming to do your own stuff. If you buy generic things from a website or an online store, it will lack personalization or uniqueness. It'll be unoriginal. If you hire an artist, that can be very expensive to build content from scratch. And if you try to do it for yourself, it can take years to master all of the tools, and you actually may never have the ability to create the professional content that you want for your game. And ultimately, it distracts game developers. Content production can be a big distraction from game developers from actually designing their game. So we surveyed a lot of developers. We learned a lot about what the Unity community was doing for their games. There were, the character-centric games. They needed 2 to 5 primary characters and 6+ secondary characters. And ultimately, there was just major dissatisfaction across the board in regards to their character creation options. the means for them to create their characters. So that's what we set out to do. So with Morph3D, we set out to create a system that lets you as indie developers create unique, high quality, and flexible, unique, high quality models that are dynamic and ultimately very affordable to produce. Okay, so some of the key components for the Morph Character System, which is the character system that powers Morph3D. One of the things I like to point out first and foremost is that there's a runtime API for you as a developer to access, which lets you do really cool things like dynamically change your character at runtime, swapping items on or off, or even changing your character shape, which I'll demonstrate in just a little bit. There's hundreds and hundreds of morphs or shaping controls that we give you. There's a swappable clothing system, levels of detail ranging from 2,000 triangles all the way up to 30,000 triangles and everything in between. There's an asset management system and a simple character creation GUI for even non-technical people to play around and create fun characters. So I'm going to jump over to Unity and kind of show off a few of these features and how you get started. So hopefully this transitions over nicely. Cool. So I've set up a Unity project. I've downloaded from the Unity Asset Store. I've brought in a bunch of our asset packs. And what you do is you start with one of our base characters. So I'll go to our starter pack. Let's see, so Morph3D, content, starter packs, and I'll do a male character for this demonstration. And drag it into the scene. And then you go up to your content that you've previously purchased or found for free on our on the Unity Asset Store. And all you have to do, I'm going to do this Victorian gentleman outfit. It's kind of this cool dated look. And I just grab this the FBX and I drop it onto the character itself. I'm also going to add some hair. And it's the same process. You just, whatever content, outfits, clothing, props, hair, etc., whatever you want to work with, you just drag that content pack into the system, and that's really almost about it. I'm going to add an animation controller, and I think I'm ready to go. Let's just add this. Cool. All right, so in just a few seconds, I was able to choose a character and a rigged character that's ready to go and animatable, etc., who's got incredible jumping abilities. Okay, but another thing that now that we've got a character, it's dynamic, right? I can turn on and off various accessories, like his waistcoat. You know, keep the pants on. All right, I'm going to turn off his hair. I'm going to do some cool head morphs. So in this system, right now we offer about 350 morphs to design and shape your character. We've got phonemes, proportion controls, just about everything you would need to create a. I mean, you can use this, and people have been doing this. They've been using this to make some really cool character engines for their players. So I'm going to find the 5-year-old morph, shrink him down. I'm going to do maybe a heavy morph, and I'm just searching the library of morphs that have been added into this. I think I'm going to take off his waistcoat, and let's make something ugly, like an orc or something. Maybe it's like a Jekyll and Hyde thing going on. Yeah, so it's pretty easy to just start going around, noodling with some dials and sliders, and you've got yourself a unique character of your design, and you don't have to be an artist to do this. And so you can see just how easily it would be to take this system and populate your MMO with characters, with NPCs, or even primary characters, or maybe you're doing a social VR app that you need avatars, you need a character engine for your users. Really easily, you can build an engine around this, and then you have access to the Morph3D library, which is, again, being produced by artists from all around the world, making outfits that are compatible with the system. So that's that demo. I'm going to switch to another project that shows a little bit of, shows an example of how the code can work. I'll save. So I'm definitely not a programmer by trade, so bear with me if I stumble through this. I'm more from the art side of things. I was a 3D modeler and came up through the ranks, I guess. But coding's awesome, and what's cool to me is when I see this, I'm like, oh my gosh, even I understand this code, right? Like it's pretty easy to do some pretty fun things with the Morph Character System, and it's because of the API that we provide. Okay, so this demo right here, it's called Stop Being Naked, and let's show it. Let's get right in. Okay, so got the character set up. He's naked. His clothes were randomly distributed. And as I run around the scene, I can collect my clothing items. And you know, I think typically this would be a pretty hard thing to do quickly. This is something that someone could put together on a train ride, which is what happened for us. Okay, so I've got some random gauntlet. Like all that's really going on here is, the first thing we did was we added a bunch of content packs to the character. So various outfits, and these are all the components. And then we have two scripts that power this demo. So you've got, I'm not going to be able to walk through all of this, but essentially you set up your character manager, and then you just make calls to it. And so there's we create a list of the clothing items, we loop through it, and according to this public variable, we say populate it with 5 items from the list, and then we just randomly put them out in the scene. And so that scatters the clothing. And then this one here, as you as you run through the scene, on collision, you see it checks the ID, and it turns off the clothing that you collided with, or it turns on the clothing that you collided with, and then destroys the game object of the one that you picked up. Super basic, really simple, like a couple lines of code, and you've got this really interesting game dynamic. And again, you got to keep in mind that this character's dynamic always, right? It can change. So even as it is, I can switch back over. Ooh, something's going on, but I don't know what's going on in the background. But I can go over here, and I can still change various attributes, right? Although I think I've got a glitch going on. As you can see, I just did a bat head, and the character's still dynamic. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to one more demo, and then I'm going to move on to where we're going with this system and what we think you guys can do with it. Okay, so we have a cake eating demo. Demos, morphing at runtime. Let him eat cake. Okay. So in this one, we've got our naked guy again. I'm not going to clothe him. As he runs around and touches the cake, he's going to gain weight. And then as he runs back and forth, I'll get him closer to the screen in just a second. I randomly populated the cake as well, and as such, I never know where it's going to go. But it's maybe a little subtle, but if I run him long enough, he loses weight. And so you can imagine, like, maybe you can make a game dynamic where it's a zombie survivor game, and if you don't eat enough food, you get weaker and weaker and weaker, and it's really, really easy to make that happen, right? And again, the code just really quickly is, you're literally just on collision detecting, or you're calling the heavy blend shape and setting a value, and then as you run over time, you're just subtracting that value and pushing and pulling, and so, like, really in minutes you can put together some pretty fun things. I wish I was a better programmer and could show you guys more of what this is capable of, but hopefully this kind of gives you an idea of where you can go with this. Okay, we'll go back. Okay, so another thing I wanted to talk about that might be interesting to some of you who I know are actually using the system is that we had two requests as soon as we released. We got a lot of positive feedback, a lot of good users doing some neat things with this, but a big complaint was the performance of the system. To have all this dynamic content to support it and to make it run, it wasn't performing well, or at least to the specs that people wanted to use it for. They wanted to use it on mobile for mobile experiences. They wanted to use it for VR things, and we just couldn't hit those benchmarks for various reasons. And so this has been a big focus of ours as we've worked with the system and tried to refine it. And I just threw a couple benchmarks up here, and it's probably gibberish to most of you guys, and maybe even me a little bit in some cases, but it's really astonishing to me to see how far we've come as far as like how much CPU load we take, what our memory footprint is. Like that middle slide there says memory use of 10 figures. Before we did some key optimizations, you put 10 of our figures in the scene, and you'd be almost up to 2 gigs worth of memory, and now you're down to like 8 megabytes, right? So it's now something that you really can use to create crowds and do cool crowd simulations with, and literally populate worlds, because it performs just like any other optimized character. So we're really happy to be able to say that, like, hey, like this will work in VR. That's why at our booth we've got a couple demos with a Gear VR, with a HoloLens, where we actually get show off like the character performing on those platforms, which are very demanding as far as how efficient you have to be. Okay, so the other thing that was really the other thing that people always ask us for that use our system is they want to put their own content onto the system. They want to, we have a library of stuff that is created by artists from around the world, but sometimes someone needs to customize a certain thing. Like, well, I can use most of the library, but I need a special jacket. I need my characters to be truly unique. I need my own IP in my game or for my experience. And so I need to, from time to time, put my own stuff in. And so that's been the #1 requested feature, and we're really excited to announce that that's something that we actually, that's something that we support. Starting tomorrow, we're releasing what we call our artist toolkit. And with the toolkit comes documentation that shows you how and what steps to go through to make content that will be compatible with our system. And so that's really cool. I think this will really open up a lot more uses for the Morph Character System. So essentially what you would do, go to morph3d.com, register to be an artist. You would get a link for our artist toolkit. We have compatibility tools that go along with them. So you get the toolkit, you get the tool set that processes your content, and then if you plan to sell it to the community at large, you would submit to our QA team, and then we would distribute it on the Morph store and the Unity store, and there would be a revenue share in that scenario. If you just want to use it for personal use, you would license, you'd pay for the conversion, and your content will work on the system. So yeah, so Artist Toolkit's available tomorrow, or you can go by the booth. We've got the same data on a flash drive. It's basically a base mesh that's rigged, and if you build around the base mesh, we can then take it into our system and put the appropriate metadata and run the projection algorithms and everything that we do to make this fanciness work. And so yeah, it starts with the Artist Toolkit, and you build around that. Okay, so that's kind of where that's basically the presentation for today. Wanted the introduction to the system, what we've done to it over the last year, what you might be able to do with it in your own demos and experiences, and yeah, we want to get you guys out there playing with this and doing cool things. And now, I also need to say that the VR optimized version of our system, that's also being released in beta tomorrow as well. So the Artist Toolkit, the mobile VR, all those performance upgrades that I just showed you, that's all available come tomorrow, June 1st.